All right, this is part 2 of the lease option video. And this house directly behind me, right there, that is the second lease option house that I did when I came directly from the other house. Now, the big difference, which is the main point I want to make here in this video, is that I took the lessons learned from the first house, which caused me a whole bunch of stress, right? Because I got lucky. Bottom line, yes, I asked, and yes, I worked hard, and I kind of was in the right place and knew the right people. So, but there was definitely some luck. I mean, Harry could have said no to that $152,000 loan that he gave me. And I may have still be able to pull it off another way. I'm not sure. But anyway, so the lessons learned from that house I brought to this house. So this house here, I also did a 3-year lease option. And only this time, I built flexibility into the option. So that's the main thing I want to teach you. You need flexibility in the option. If you don't get flexibility in the option, then I wouldn't recommend doing the option. So there's too many things that could possibly go wrong because, stuff happens, life happens, things happen. Just anything, accidents, anything can happen. So, move the camera a little bit here. So what you want to do is, in your option, what you want to do is you want to put in the fact that it's assignable, right? Just spell it out right there in the option. This option is assignable. And if the optionor, the person selling, ever asks, why do you want to do that? And you want to tell them. You want to say, okay, let's say that I'm 2 years into the options. I've done everything perfectly. I've maintained the house, and I've made all the payments on time. And, I go four-wheeling or something like this, or get in a car accident, and I break my ankle, and I'm out of work for 6 weeks. And all of a sudden, being out of work affects your payments, and you miss a few payments on your car, and all of a sudden you can't qualify, whatever, right? So you can't qualify for the loan. Well, what are you going to do? You don't want to lose all the time and investment that you have into the option. So, or you get sick, health reasons, something like that. Or you get laid off, right? So it could be anything. So you got to build the flexibility into the option so that you can assign the option to a friend, a family member, or if you can't do it at all, you can assign it and act it like a flip and just sell it, to sell your option and sell the property. And, and again, you can keep the spread, right? If there's a spread, you can keep the spread, or you can just sell it for face value. So in other words, you could tell somebody, okay, I'm going to sell you my option, and you can purchase it at face value. Just give me $10,000. Just give me $20,000, whatever the case may be, because it's always going to vary, right? But you want to build that flexibility in. It's extremely, extremely important. I can't say this enough. It'll help you avoid all the stress that I went through on the first one I did, where the guy told me, over my dead body, blah, 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 right? See, if I would have had that built in there, he wouldn't have been able to do any of that. He would have had to have, signed. And, of course, on this one, I set it up front. So what I did, springboarded off that first one, I got into this lease option, 3-year lease option. I had all the flexibility built in. I bought this property for $125, I think it was. So I bought this for $125, and I held this property for about 5 years. And I didn't live in it the whole 5 years, but I did live in it for about 3 years. And I ended up selling this property for $309. $310, something like that. So, and then part of that money, I, of course, went into another house. I'd already gone into another house by that time, but then I bought another house. So the whole thing was a big springboard into one house after another house after another house. So if I can do it, you can do it. Now, let me tell you how I got this lease option, and how I found it. So when I got out of the other one, obviously I needed a place to live because I sold the place where I was living, right? So I started looking through some ads real quick, and I found a house that was for rent. And I got in the car, I took action, I drove over here, and I saw this house, and I liked it. And I said, oh, yeah, I definitely want this. And so the next morning, I called the agents that had it listed as the rental, and I ran over their office, right? So this is very important. All these things I'm saying, listen to all the little details. It's very important. I got up. I took action. I didn't call them. I didn't reach out to them. I didn't text them. I didn't email them. I got up. I got in my car, and I drove over there. I talked to the agent face to face. And I said, I'm interested in that house. And she said, oh, it's not for rent anymore. I said, oh, it's not. She goes, no. She goes, the owner decided to sell it. And I said, being naive or whatever, if you will, I said, oh, well, what's his phone number? I want to call him, and maybe you can give me that so I can contact him, because maybe I'd like to buy it. All right. Now, I didn't want to say to her that I wanted to do a lease option, only because of the fact that agents don't think they get their commissions, or they get their commission split or something weird with a lease option. So I don't think they're too keen on helping somebody do a lease option, right? So anyway, so she literally looked at me and said, oh, no. She goes, I can't give his phone number or anything. She said, if you're going to buy it, it has to be through us. But yet they didn't have the property listed, right? It wasn't an active listing with them. And that she made that kind of clear. And I said, okay, thank you very much. And so I left. Well, from leaving their office, I just had this gut feeling. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and drive by the house one more time. So I did. I drove up here to the house one more time. And right here on the sidewalk in front of the house, well, this was 2 days earlier, there was a big pile of trash. So I knew the house was vacant and somebody just moved out. So I left their office. I drove back by here. And right here in the front lawn, there was an older gentleman, all white hair, right? And he was picking up trash. And he was dressed real nice, though. I could tell he wasn't, the groundskeeper or anything like that. He was dressed really nice. So I pulled up, but the second I saw him, I said, you know what? That's the owner, because of his age, because of the way he was dressed, and because of the fact that he was bending over to pick up, one or two papers. I said, you know what? Only an owner is going to do that. Nobody cares the way an owner does. Anybody else wouldn't give a hoot about those little papers in the yard. So I pulled up, I got out of the car, and I said hello. And he was very nice. He said hello. And I asked him, I go, do you happen to be the owner of this property? And he said, he was very honest and open. He said, yes. He goes, yes, I'm the owner. Bingo. So I literally told him I wasn't overly enthusiastic, but I was enthusiastic and straightforward. And I said, hey, I'm very, very interested in this house. I would like to rent it from you. And I said, but I want to lease option it. I think I told him that right up front. I'd like to lease option the house from you. He goes, really? And he loved it. He loved the fact that I just drove right up to him and said, I'd like to lease option this house from you. He said, wow, really? And he's like, that's what he talked to. Super nice guy. And so I said, yes. I said, as a matter of fact, I will take care of everything. I said, I will take care of everything. I'll finish the cleanup. I'll take it as is. I said, you don't even have to pick up those papers you're picking up. Just leave them there. I will take care of it. I'll take care of everything. He says, wow, okay. And he had a big smile on his face, And I meant every word that I said, and I did everything that I said. So this is very important. When you get into real estate, you're going to work. And get that mindset that you're going to work. And you'll be rewarded for the attitude and for the work that you put in. And be honest and be open and deliver more than you promise, right? So just go in with that mindset. Don't go in with the mindset, oh, they owe you or somebody owes you or anything like that, because that I just don't believe in that. Just go in with the mindset that you're going to do more than the place is going to be better off after you leave than before you showed up. As a matter of fact, just have that attitude with everything, and you'd be surprised how good things work out. Right? I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it myself. That's, and so anyways, so he did. So he stopped picking up stuff, and we made an appointment. I lease optioned this house. He gave me my flexibility. He gave me my assignment rights. I think I had something like $300 or $400 a month built in as seller credit on every single monthly payment that was made on time. And so, add that up. So let's say it's $400 a month, just so you guys know. This is one of the powerful aspects of a lease option from the buyer's standpoint. And I only recommend doing lease options the way I'm telling you to do them. So number one, we set the price up front, right? And let me go off for a minute on this little story. The reason I'm saying that and making a point of that is because I know people personally who've done lease options, and they do not set a price up front in the lease option. And I'm like pulling my hair out. What are you talking about? What good is it if you don't put a price? Why are you bothering to do it? It means nothing, right? Especially if the seller is going to ask you to pay a premium on the rental amount, on the lease amount, because of the fact that, quote unquote, it's a lease option, right? Well, I don't know. It has no value to me, and I'm telling you this. I don't want you to get into anything and waste years of your life in something that's not valuable. I mean, you want to do it so that you can benefit for all your hard work at the end. So the lease option has to have an option price. It has to have the dollar amount set right up front. So make sure that you put in the amount. On this house, we put in the amount. It was either 122 or 125. It's been a while, so I can't remember exactly. But so that was up front. $400 a month credit, 3-year lease option. And as a matter of fact, I think I built in an option to re-up for another 3 years. Now, I think California, if I'm not mistaken, has a limit as to how many the term of the lease option. So to get around that, so to speak, or to make everything the way it should be, I just simply will put in there, okay, well, I have an option to do another option at the end of this one, another lease option, right? So you can do that too. Remember, sky's the limit. You can be as creative as you want on these things. If you and the seller agree on it, then go for it. You can do it, right? So think about it. That is $400 a month times a year. That's $4,800. So that is almost $10,000 after 2 years. So you're looking 3 years. You're looking what? Almost $14,000, $15,000, something like that. Seller credit. So what that means is that when you go to buy the property, in the escrow instructions and all, he's not going to give you cash or anything, but in the escrow instructions and everything, it says seller credit. So that credit will pay for your closing costs, and it'll pay for part of your down payment. So it's a great thing, and you're building that equity as you're in the property, making pretty much the normal rent payment. That's another thing. Just because it's a lease option doesn't mean you have to overinflate the rent. I mean, you could if you want to. You could say, okay, I'll tell you what, the rent for this property, this is an example, okay? The rent for this property is $1,000 a month, the fair market rent. I'll give you $1,200 a month, but in return, you'll give me $400 a month as seller credit for when I lease option the property, right? So what does that mean? That means you're really paying $800 a month, because the other $400 is you're keeping that in your own pocket in the long run, right? In the short term, during the term of the lease, he gets to use that as cash flow. You get to use that in the end result, and that money is kind of funny money, what I call funny money to him, because the fact that it's appreciation money, right? I did the same thing when I sold this property. It was worth more than what I sold it for, but what I did was I gave the guy who bought it from me a credit. I think I gave him, just because he was a friend of mine, I sold the house to a friend of mine, so it was worth like $320, $325. I sold it to him for $309, and I think I gave him like $9,000 in closing cost credit or something like that. So it worked out good for me. It worked out good for the seller. And this, by the way, the seller and me are still friends, and it's been 20 years. I call him once in a while, say hello. He's a super nice guy, and this was one of his rentals. He had multiple rentals. This was one of them. But I did exactly what I said I was going to do, and he was extremely happy about it. And so, but I'm not, as you could tell, I pause a little bit, right? I look off as I'm thinking. I pause a little bit. I'm not a super polished speaker, and so when I went to talk to him, I was just straightforward, and like I said, he did the lease option with me. So what I'm trying to say is you can do it too. Don't think you can't do it. There's no magic words. There's no magic words. The magic words are please, thank you, I appreciate it, I'll follow through. I'll do what I'm saying. I'm a hard worker. That's it. Those are the magic words. So you can get out there. You can get a lease option too. But the number one also is ask. Just ask. Like I did, right? I asked, are you the owner? Yes. I'd like to do a lease option. Are you open to that? Well, yes, let's talk. Great. So we sat down, we talked, and I mean, it was all, he was all smiles, and his wife at the time, she was really very firm, right? Nice lady, but very firm. And said, oh no, we got to get this price for it. And I think it was like, said the 125. And anyway, so they did their own comps, right? So when I bought it, they did their own comps. I did my own comps. And then we just sat down together, just at their kitchen table, literally. So there was no agents involved. It was just me and them. And we hammered out the details. And like I said, I'd just done one. So I knew which papers to use, and I knew what to write in. And it turned out absolutely fantastic. So again, hope to encourage you. If I can do it, you can do it. It's very beneficial. I didn't get the tax write-off during the lease option term, but I certainly did afterwards. And this was one of the pieces in my success in real estate and my encouragement in real estate, because this was a very, very encouraging, uplifting deal. So when you get one of these under contract, it can be very uplifting for you too. And remember, you can also put in there that you'd like the permission to sublet. Let's say that you, after a year, something like this, you want to be able to sublet the property, right? So who knows? Ask, right? The seller might say, okay, fine. Because in reality, the seller's thinking, you know what? It's okay. Because what you want to do for the seller is you want to kind of write into the lease, really. You want to write in, hey, look, the whole thing's valid only if I make the payments on time. If I don't make the payments on time, then the option's void. So, I mean, that gives a lot of strength to the seller. So on your part, yes, it puts some pressure. You have to make sure that you make all those payments on time. Or you can put, okay, if I'm late on 3 payments or more, the lease option's void, or the option part is void, right? So you can always negotiate various things, just whatever you can think of. Build some benefits in for the seller, build some benefits in for you, and it'll turn out to be a real win-win situation. And like I said, this gentleman and me were still friends. I sold it for, what was that, double? I sold it for more than double of what he sold it to me for. And, he didn't look back, right? He was actually coming toward the end of his investing career. And so he wanted it, off the books. So he took that money from me for the lease payments for the years that I was in there. And like I said, he was happy as a clam. Happy as a clam. So, all right. I'll come back with more. I'm sure I'm going to remember more details and get back to you guys with more things. But please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. And I hope you like the videos, and I'll keep them coming because I have a gazillion stories of all the stuff I've done over the years. And most time when I talk to people, they find it very interesting. And they tell me they like my stories. And the only thing is, I wish I would have started writing them down from day one, because I would have a book by now. Okay, thank you very much. Paul signing out. And like I said, please subscribe, tell all your friends, and give me the thumbs up. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.